So, welcome. Can you please introduce yourself by giving your name, major, and your year in college?
My name is Jacob Goldberg. I am a sophomore here at Temple. It's my first semester on campus. I transferred from Delaware County Community College. I am a media studies production major.
So, what made you want to come here after going to Delaware County?
Well, out of high school, I was about to say college. Out of high school, my grades were probably as bad as they've ever been in my last year. It was probably less than a 3 GPA, probably by the time that I left. So I kind of needed time to, reevaluate what my morals were in school. Like, I never had, a serious kind of attitude towards it. There was stuff that, I would try at and that I was good at, but I never really had that kind of focused in mentality. So I went to Delaware County Community College, which was about 25 minutes from where I lived. I would drive there 3 days a week, and had 4 classes there, and then 3 classes there and a fourth online.
Okay.
And I just needed that time to kind of reevaluate how I went about school and kind of take it seriously for that year, to prove both to myself and to Temple that I kind of could do school, because that's what they're looking for. They want students that can come in, take all their classes seriously, get the highest grades possible, and kind of prove that they can do school, for lack of a better term.
Cool. So why did you choose Temple over everywhere else?
Well, it's kind of a 3 factors. For one, the location. It's only half hour, 45 minutes away from where I live, but I do live on campus. But it's obviously one of the premier Philly schools. Another factor is that both my dad and my brother went here, so I kind of had
that definitely plays into it.
Yeah, I kind of had a family. What's the word?
Legacy.
Yeah, legacy to kind of fulfill, and also for being a media studies production major and kind of liking media and that whole field, Temple's got a great sort of program and kind of different facilities to be able to use, kind of like we're doing now.
Sure.
And it's just there's a lot of opportunities available for being in Philly and then being on campus itself for a lot of different aspects. So it's kind of this is what I want to do, and this is kind of my best chance to kind of do that. If I wanted to do something else, I would have probably looked at another school. My family would have been like, okay, I mean, that's fine, really. But it just kind of happened to work out that way, really.
Okay. So you went to community college for 1 year. Usually people do 2 and get their associates and come. Why did you do it differently?
So with media, any kind of media field, any kind of field that's more hands-on, for example, I'll just use the media, what I do, media studies production. When it's more hands-on, you need that hands-on time. So the community college, you're obviously going and you're going to do your gen eds. There's some sort of variation to the class that you can take that'll play into your major or play into what the major's what the major's about. It won't exactly transfer credit wise, but you'll still get those credits, credit hours, I guess.
Yeah.
But when you need that hands-on time, the more time you wait is really more time that you lose. Obviously, you'll transfer in and you'll have those 2 years done of class and whatnot. But where you kind of get that experience and make that bread and butter is really being hands-on, doing the extracurriculars, kind of doing all the intangibles, really.
Sure. Do you have any advice for people who are going to community college first and then transferring to another school?
Yeah, it's really, people kind of look at community colleges as a whole as oh, well, that's for old people who want to go back to school. That's for the kind of, it wasn't my situation, the bad student or whatever. But there's a lot of people that go to a lot of different community colleges around the globe, I guess.
Yeah.
And it's kind of everyone has a reason to be there. No one's there to kind of be I'm just going to school. Why not? Everyone has a reason they're going to be there, either to kind of change up their career, help their family, kind of jumpstart their college career like I did.
Yeah.
So it's kind of it's not as campus focused. There's a lot of campus life here. There's a lot of different people that you can meet and organizations you can get involved with. when you go to community college, it's kind of like you're going to go in and you're going to take your classes and really focus on your classes. There's nothing really to distract you other than
like
whatever
no parties at community
yeah, whatever
college.
you get up to in your personal life.
Sure.
So it's kind of like if you're looking at community college as, let me just try this, it's definitely the right place to try, kind of to start out your college career. Obviously, if you're doing something hands-on like I did, you're going to only want to be there for like a year or so. But if you know kind of nothing about what you want to do, but you don't want to take like a leap year, or you just kind of want to keep going,
and even save money at the same time.
It's such a drastic change in finances from community college to now. Yeah. So even if you do it for a year, you're still saving a lot for just that 1 year. But you have to look at it like everyone's got a reason to be there, and you kind of have to find your reason to be there, or you kind of have a reason to be there, and you kind of just have to roll with that. You can't really look at it as like it's just a college or whatever. It's giving you like almost a second chance to be there.
Sure. So
it's like you have to look at it as everyone has a story, and your story is going to be a little different from someone else's. Someone's going to have a similar story to you. It's not as scary or kind of different than your average college or whatever. It's just you're just going to take your classes, and that's really it.
Yeah, so. I took a chemistry course in the summer at my local community college, and there were so many different people in different spaces in their life. Like there was some guy that needed this course to graduate college. There were other people that were freshmen and just wanted to do it at an easier pace than what may be at their college. But also something to keep in mind is that with certain classes, colleges want you to take the course at their university because they believe that their professors set the standard, and they believe that maybe some other teacher wouldn't do as good a job teaching it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, there's a lot of different people. There's some people like in their 30s in my class, and then also people that were very young.
There's a reason that it's only, for the most part, gen eds. It's kind of like this is what is the universal class or the universal kind of studies for a collegiate level student.
Yeah.
So it's kind of cut and dry what you're getting, but it's a really good opportunity for a lot of different people.
True.
So.
That's really awesome. So you said you're living on campus now. Do you ever make the occasional trip home because you're so close?
Yeah, I kind of lucked out in that my house, my hometown, isn't very far. Yeah. So if I have to go home for like a weekend just to kind of see the hometown or whatever, or
see the family.
Yeah, or see the family. It's not too far away. I understand that like that's like a privilege for me. A lot of students cannot do that.
That's very true.
And I just have a very fortunate situation that I can do that. So,
especially for out of state too.
Yeah, if you're out of state, it's even worse. So I'm kind of lucky that I'm only a half an hour away from here. But I like it here a lot more than I do there, because when you're there for your whole life, and or for me specifically, it's not my favorite place in the world, and a lot of people that live there, it's not their favorite place in the world. So it's kind of like when you're here, or when you're in college or whatever, you're surrounded by people that are like kind of optimistic about their future, and it's kind of like a up and coming for both like a city standpoint and then the people in the city. So it's kind of high energy here.
That was going to be my next question. I was going to say, do you like being at home, or did you just want to get out of there real fast?
I like being at home, physically in my home. But going outside the town, it's most famous for Tina Fey went to the high school I went to. That's what we're most famous for.
Okay.
My graduating class was 897 people. So it's kind of like, it's a small town, but it's big enough to where the high school can attract from different like surrounding towns and kind of surrounding cities. So it's kind of like almost like a conglomerate. When we were there, we'd describe it as like a fruit salad almost. There's like just a bunch of different walks of life. So even that transition from high school to here, it's not that different. It was a very big high school. This is a very big school or a very big college, and you can meet so many different people every day. We would say at high school, this is even more so for here. Every day you would walk down the hall, you would see someone you've never seen before.
Oh yeah.
And you could go there for 4 years, and you'd still see new people in your class.
Yeah.
So it can kind of feel daunting at times when you're in a graduating class of 897 for a high school, but I guess that kind of isolationism kind of translates to college. You kind of have to find your own path, really, and kind of make yourself stand out in different ways.
Yeah, very cool. So do you do any sort of clubs or extracurriculars at Temple?
I do. Since it's only like my first semester actually being here, I've gotten involved with Temple Update, and that's kind of the home for a few different shows. What I've been involved with is Temple or Update Now and Update Ahora, which is the Spanish version and the 90-second version of the kind of rapid fire news.
So for people that don't know, these are like actual television programs that are broadcast.
Yes, so they go up on Twitter the next day, and then on the the local Philly circuit of TV networks, Temple has their own channel, and it'll go out to that too, I think, the following day. So there's the 2 rapid fire 90-second shows, and then there's Temple Update itself, and Lo Ultimo, I can't speak Spanish, so those are both like 15, 16, 17 minute kind of proper news shows, and they'll go up on the Temple's channel 2, I guess the following day of whenever it's recorded. So I've been able to kind of help out there in different ways, which is what they encourage you to do, kind of show up whenever you can, help out however you can. And that's just kind of what I've gotten involved with so far.
Is it hard if you don't speak Spanish?
It's actually not. There's, since Temple is kind of very inclusive in all different walks of life, there's plenty of Spanish-speaking people there. But they still need people to help run cameras and do all sorts of stuff.
Well, that's awesome for you because you're media studies.
Yeah, so I kind of got lucked out in that I can kind of go and help because my schedule's not too crazy, so I can kind of go and help at different times. And this is the same for kind of any media field or any kind of media studio they're going to go to. They always need help, really. And however you can kind of pitch into that is going to help you and help them in the long run.
Cool.
So, yeah, I've been able to help out with that a little bit. Not speaking Spanish hasn't really limited me at all. You don't need to speak Spanish to operate a camera or run a board, so it's a good start.
Do you see yourself doing any sort of different clubs in the future, like next semester?
I'm open to kind of doing anything, really, since we have so many different things here.
God, there's like 200 or something.
Yeah, and you can also create your own if you really wanted to. But yeah, I'm pretty open to kind of trying out anything at least once. So if it's kind of like, I didn't really like this too much, you can kind of back out. I did do, this kind of actually just wrapped the other day. Temple has their own kind of site for intramural sports.
Yeah.
And I did intramural volleyball I think it ran for a month.
Okay.
And we lost our first playoff game. We were out after that.
That's a bummer.
But yeah, that was kind of
liked it.
Yeah, it was fun to get involved with. I didn't know anyone when I went in. I just kind of joined a random team, and they're all super nice, as most people are here. And it was really fun to just kind of once a week go and just play volleyball for an hour. I've never played before. I wasn't really good or anything, but it was still kind of just fun to get involved. And going here, you kind of have that kind of advantage that there's just intramural volleyball that you can just join for whatever reason.
Yeah, and that's probably like the biggest advantage of being a transfer student, because we're kind of at a disadvantage coming into the school because everyone lived in the dorms their freshman year, got to make a bunch of close friends. We're just hopping in and just going in the deep end right away.
Yeah, it can be, I guess that's one of the downsides of transferring in from community college, because like I said, it's not really campus focused. It's kind of, you're there for your grades and your classes and whatnot. So you're not really worried about the social aspect there. So when you come in, it can be kind of daunting to make kind of friends and kind of get involved with stuff, but really you just have to put yourself out there. Like there's no really secret to it other than just get involved, find people similar to you, because here there's a club for almost everything, like whatever your nationality is or your background or your religious beliefs, whatever. There's going to be someone similar to you to some extent here.
But at the same time, I think doing things with people that are different than you could be a great advantage also.
Yeah, it's definitely easier to start with what you're comfortable with.
Sure, like if you're an athlete, you play sports.
Yeah, but then jumping into, say, volleyball. I've never played volleyball before, and it was just kind of like, all right, this is fun. There's a team. They're all nice, so you kind of just meet people that way, and you'll kind of recognize faces around campus every now and then. So even if you're not comfortable with something right away, just trying it and being like, all right, this wasn't so bad. You'll keep going. You'll be like, all right, I'm glad I did this in the end.
Mm-hmm. I don't know if you knew this, but I also transferred here. This is my first semester.
Yeah, you told me before.
So I came from a smaller college of about 2,500 people.
Right.
And jumping to Temple, which is 30,000, was
right.
a huge difference. And when I was at my first school, which was Arcadia, they had so many different opportunities for clubs as they do here, even though it was a smaller school. But I tried a bunch of things that I thought I would never like. Like, I joined a dance club.
Right.
I did play some intramural soccer, which I had played in the past, so that was really nice to meet people through that too.
Right.
I did volleyball, and then I did another dance course, and tried a little bit of yoga too. So just trying all those things, you might discover something that you like that you would have never thought you would have before.
Right.
It's awesome. So, what kind of interests that you have on top of school? Is there something that you really like to do in your free time, or a hobby, anything like that?
I guess this is kind of just something that I wouldn't say I picked up, but since my childhood, my brother, he's a few years older than me, and he is who really got me into playing video games. And ever since then, I've kind of kept that passion, really. I know a lot of people will kind of have something they do as a kid or have their own hobbies or whatever, but this is something that I kind of started as a kid. I've been doing ever since. I know it's kind of typical. The average teen does play games or whatever.
Yeah, the average teen guy.
But that is just something that I've always liked. I love kind of the business aspect of it is something that I'm really interested in. Kind of looking at how video games are kind of created and how their market is kind of different than most mediums.
Okay.
Like for movies, everyone knows the latest Avengers was the Infinity War.
Yeah.
The average person can't name the latest Call of Duty. That's just something that's kind of interesting to me.
Yeah, I never thought about it like that.
Kind of just obviously playing the games and kind of like analyzing the different aspects of it is something that interests me. But other than that, I kind of I took a class in high school on like the basics of photography. I'd never been into photography before that, and that class kind of
sparked an interest.
Yeah, I had played around with like Photoshop and stuff before. I had like a basic concept of it, but that was kind of like an aspect of just taking your phone out sometimes, is taking a picture and seeing like how you can kind of fix it up a little bit. And I don't know, that's something I never really liked until 2 or 3 years ago. And it's kind of like a passion that I'm not kind of serious with. I'll kind of mess around. If I have free time, I'll take a picture somewhere and then I'll open it in Photoshop or Lightroom like a week later. And it's just something I've kind of had fun with. Living in Philadelphia now, there's kind of a different picture to be taken around every corner, it seems like. So it's kind of like that's awakened in me. It's like just kind of stop sometimes, just take a picture.
Sure.
And, I don't know, it's just kind of something fun I've done for the past 2 or 3 years.
Nice. Is there something that the everyday person wouldn't know about you? Like, did you have a pet goldfish when you were 12 that was your best friend? Did you used to ride a scooter, BMX tricks, like anything like that?
I think the average person wouldn't really... I don't know. I don't think the average person would really know I like photography as much as I do.
Sure.
It's something that obviously I said I picked up recently. It's kind of like ruined looking at like Instagram photos for me because I'll look at it and I'll be like, I mean, this picture could have been so much easier if you just took a step to the right, or if you just like took that can out of the corner of the picture or something like that. I think that's something that I don't talk about enough, or it's something that I don't like kind of take seriously.
Sure.
Sometimes.
Is this the first time that you've verbalized it?
No, I mean, it's kind of what my Instagram has become, just kind of, here's a random picture I took
like
and edited.
Nature and like stuff like
that. But it's something I've never taken seriously. I've never like had another photography class since then. I've never like tried to get published anywhere or anything. It's just something that I've kind of taken interest in the last few years, and I don't know, I'd like to take it seriously one day and kind of have like a nice camera and kind of do like photo shoots or whatever.
Sure.
But it's not something I really talk about too much, because it's something that I'll spend 10-15 minutes on once a week or something.
Cool. That's very interesting. I think photography is a great way to like express yourself just by showing different pictures.
It's awesome. It's kind of like, it kind of keeps you humble too, because you can only take pictures of where you are. You can't take a picture of somewhere cool all the time. Yeah. So you kind of just have to make something out of nothing. And it's like, there's a tree, and it's kind of looking kind of ugly right now. Let's see if I can take a picture of it and fix it in post. So
sure.
It kind of reminds you of who you are and like where you are sometimes.
Awesome. So how are you liking college in general, and specifically college at Temple at the moment?
In general, I'm really liking college compared to, I guess, K through 12.
Sure. That includes community college too?
I liked community college. I really did.
Yeah.
For different reasons than how I liked Temple, but for, I guess, my high school experience, I didn't really ever take it seriously. I wasn't the smartest person. I was friends with a lot of different groups and whatever. The smart people, they're people who play games all the time. So it was kind of like I never had this kind of drive to be the smartest or whatever, or try my hardest. I never like studied or anything. And then once I kind of made that switch from, all right, I'm done high school.
You're like, oh shit.
I'm not really where I want to be in life because I never really tried. Kind of going to community college really instilled a kind of work ethic in me. Because if I had just finished high school, gotten into here like right away, I would still be a terrible student because like, I've gotten this far.
Yeah.
But I didn't get far after high school. It kind of came to a dead stop. I was like, all right, well, here's where I have to kind of start focusing. And that kind of put in me the reason to try and kind of take it seriously. I developed a work ethic. I developed how to study properly. And I balanced that with a job. I liked community college for the reason that it almost felt fresh. Like this is like, all right, here's the time to kind of start over. How am I gonna conduct myself in school, and how am I gonna kind of start to build my career and build a career path. I liked community college because I could drive there every day. I knew once I get there, this is where it starts. I would drive home and have an off day, come back the next day.
Yeah, that's gotta be nice having a day in between.
Yeah, it was kind of like a way to ease myself into the college life. Not that the switch from community college to Temple has been like anything crazy. It's kind of like what I expected.
Sure.
But I liked community college for what it was. I took full advantage of where I could and kind of got the grades I wanted. Then so far I've been here. I've had I really haven't had any like negative experiences, I would say. It's been about what I've expected. There's a lot of different opportunities at every corner. I've been kind of ease myself into new things, trying different things. Like for example, this is just a funny story. I was at one of the gym complexes we have here, and there's a rock wall there.
Oh, yeah.
I was leaving one day. I was like, oh, I'm just going to climb that rock wall. I was like, can I climb that? The guy's like, yeah, give me your ID, sign this paper, and you can go up there.
That's awesome.
I was like, all right, I mean, that's something I wouldn't do normally, but I was like, why not just climb this rock wall?
Exactly. And that's a great way to meet people, too, just to, like, say hi to random.
Yeah, really. Because when you're in the gym, you're kind of like, just when you're in the gym, you're kind of like
in the zone,
focused on your own thing. I'm not bothering anybody. I don't really want anyone bothering me.
Yeah.
And I was like, can I climb that wall? The guy's like, yeah, sure. Just give me your ID, sign this thing.
Yeah.
Get on up there.
How'd you like it?
It was fun. It was pretty hard considering I had just done a full workout, and I was leaving. I was like
sore already.
Yeah. I think I was like, you kind of took an easier path than normal, but you just did a full workout, I'm pretty sure, so you're fine.
That's funny.
But yeah, I've liked college so far. Trying to, I guess, try really has kind of changed my perspective on school and whatnot. Kind of see how other people have been trying this whole time and putting myself into their shoes, being like, oh, this person has had this crazy work ethic for this long and they've gotten this far. I should start putting myself in those kind of positions to kind of work my way up there, as slow as starting community college and just taking the basics to actually getting my hands on now. I've liked it so far. I really have.
That's good. Going back to the comment you made about trying random things, there's today, so Jacob and I have a class together at 4, and I was walking back probably around like 2 o'clock or something, and Today was a very nice day. It was probably like 74 degrees or something like that.
Yeah, right around there, yeah.
God, it was so nice. So in the morning, it's like 50. So you walk out, you go to your first class in the morning, and then it's super warm later on. So I'm in full jeans. I got like a sweatshirt on, and there's this group of people playing soccer in this courtyard.
Right.
And I love soccer, so I was really thinking about it. I walked past them. Like, I literally walked about to cross the street. I'm like, you know what? I might as well just go join them. So I turned around, went back. I was like, hey, do you guys mind if I play? And of course they're going to say, like, yeah, come join us. And they turned out to be really cool people. Like, we all shot around for a little. We were just passing. And then we started up a little scrimmage game, like 3-on-3, tiny little court. And it was so much fun. And I'm really glad I did it. Like, I added everybody on Snapchat or Instagram. And that's just how you make some new friends.
And I think you're going to get that experience kind of across the board here. Like, wherever you go, you're going to have some sort of kind of good experience for the most part, with just kind of meeting new people and kind of just throwing yourself out there. You're not going to really crash too hard, I don't think.
Hopefully not.
For the most part here.
Okay. Aside from clubs and, I guess, discovering that work ethic that has been deep inside of you, what's your favorite thing at college so far?
I guess kind of specific to here is where we're located. It's such a convenient place for so many different reasons.
Yeah,
you can
like
go
close to home, and then you're also in the city.
Yeah, you're like 2 blocks away from good food, like almost anywhere.
Yeah,
you go 2 blocks up the Broad, there's good food along the board. Where I live, there's good food like right under me, and you have Philly like right there. So you can kind of go into the city a little bit more. You go shopping for the day. There's different events going on campus and in Philly itself all the time.
Yeah, Center City is really big for college events too.
Yeah, so like just where we're located is kind of convenient, and we're kind of lucky that we're here. I guess I don't know if lucky is the right word. You've kind of chosen to come here, and it's a good spot to be at.
Yep.
So just kind of that location aspect, I think, is something that kind of for other colleges, you're kind of on a campus, and outside the campus, there's not really much there.
Like Penn State, for example.
Yeah.
You're in the middle of nowhere, but at the same time, it's a giant school.
Yeah. So kind of having the good campus life, and then outside of campus, being friendly with our neighbors, as we call it here, being friendly to
hopefully
the
friendly.
People of Philly.
Well, North Philly, you got to be a little bit careful sometimes.
Just kind of, specifically when I'm at the food store, whoever I'm in line with, because there's always a line whenever I go.
Do you go to the fresh grocer?
Well, yeah, when I'm at the fresh grocer, I'm always talking to the people either in front of me or behind me. I'm like, we're both here. I'm in college. You probably just live here.
Yeah.
Make the light of the situation. And I worked at a food store for a few years, so I kind of know how people are in food stores and like the ins and outs and whatnot. So the things that people complain about in line, I'm like, yeah, I know. I had to deal with them. I stood behind that register for a while.
Yeah. And did you work at a grocery store too?
For when I was the day after my 16th birthday to, I think when I was just before I turned 18, somewhere in that timeline, I worked at a food store. I worked as a cashier for the most of it, and it's not the greatest job. It's pretty much the starter job, other than like working at McDonald's for the most part.
Yeah.
So like when I go, it's kind of funny to see, kind of the things that people complain about in line and whatnot. I'd be like, yeah, I get it.
I remember that.
And I know to kind of help out the cashier or whatever, just kind of move the line along, because some people will just watch all the items be rung up and they'll all pile up at the end, and the transaction will end and be like, okay, now I'll start bagging.
Yeah.
I'll get down there, I'll be like, just give me all the stuff.
Yeah, that's okay.
I'll get out of your hair as fast as possible.
True. So, what would you say the average work day looks like for you? Like, how many classes do you take? Do you have breaks in between?
So, I currently take 5 classes. I have 3 on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and then 2 on Tuesday and Thursday. Every day I have an 8 a.m. class, so every day I'm up at 7:30.
Gotta love it. Well, that's not bad because you're on campus.
Yeah. It's still waking up at 7:30, considering like you'll stay up till 12 or 1 sometimes, either studying or just doing whatever.
For students that live off campus,
it's gotta be horrible.
I wake up like an hour and a half before any of my classes because I also like to eat a good breakfast, take a shower, have a little bit of downtime, and then it's a 20-minute walk.
What I used to do, like when this semester first started, I would wake up at 7, shower, grab something to eat really fast, then go. But now it's just kind of, I'm up, I'll go to, every day I have 2 classes in a row, and then on Monday, Wednesday, Friday I have our 4 o'clock class. Yeah. And right after my 2 morning classes, I'll come back, go to the gym, shower, and then have like a proper meal or whatever, and then go about my day, usually going to Temple Update to help film something or help.
Oh, I didn't know they do that during the day. I thought it was like a nighttime thing.
No, it's there's some I think that do go at night. I'm not sure. Just what I've been a part of. Sure. Everything kind of goes at a different time during the day, but
they have so many of them. Anyway.
Yeah, there's a bunch of different shows, but just what I've been a part of fits into my day most days of the week. So every day it's kind of nonstop from 7:30 to kind of 12 after I've come home from the gym and showered and whatnot. Yeah. And then it's kind of a little bit of downtime until I go out and film or whatever. Yeah. And then go to our class on 3 days a week. So it's kind of, my classes are all kind of tight together, but it's kind of worked itself out for my first semester being here, considering that's like all I could get for kind of transferring in at the last minute.
Did you like fill out your application stuff like late in the spring semester?
When you transfer from a community college, I guess, or any college really, after only doing a year there, they want you to finish that year. Whereas if you do 2 years at a community college, you can apply after you've done 3 semesters. So once I've completed both semesters of my first year, then I could apply.
So that's like really late then.
Yeah, right? So I could apply then I had to wait a little bit, and then I kind of got in. So like when I got in, had like the transfer student orientation, scheduled my classes for then, kind of took what I could get. But everyone's kind of like, you have 8 a.m.s every day? That must be like the worst. It's all right. I'm just kind of tired by the end of the day, really, is the only downside to it. Yeah.
But waking up early is also good because in my opinion, I think I get more done when I wake up
early. If I had like 11 o'clock classes for my first class every day, I'd be sleeping till 10 or whatever. Yeah. And that would just kind of push back all the things that I want to do anyway, like go to the gym and then have like a proper meal and whatnot. Yeah, exactly. But I don't know. It's been all right having 8 a.m.s every day. It's not as bad as everyone really thinks it is, considering like when you're in high school, you get up at like 6:30 every day or whatever it is.
Of course. But I know some people that schedule their classes so they don't have to wake up until like 4 o'clock on a Friday. I don't know. They don't even schedule classes on Friday.
I like being really like organized. Like I like structure and whatnot. I like being like early to things. I don't like walking in late or walking in like at the last minute. I try to be like, if I can be early, I want to be early. So it's kind of like having that structure and having something where I'm kind of forced to get up and get my day going. It's not that bad.
It's a good habit to have.
Yeah, it really is.
So with the classes that you are taking, is the work manageable with, say, homework or studying for quizzes, tests, essays?
I think it can all kind of pile up. In my experience, it can kind of pile up at sometimes. I've kind of been in like a little like lull period for a little bit. But at times it can kind of pile up. Like,
so you mean like lull period, there isn't much?
Yeah, there's still some homework I have to get done, but then there's times, I guess, like the middle of the semester, it's going to be towards the end of the semester, where it can be like, all right, everyone has a paper due for them, or there's a paper due, a video project due, a presentation due, and then whatever else assignments they have mixed in there. It's been manageable so far. I haven't had any like catastrophes or anything. I've asked for like an extension once or twice, but it's
like,
kind of
if you message them beforehand, you just get one.
Yeah, and most teachers are flexible. No one's gonna really give you the hardest of times. Probably the hardest experience I've had, or the hardest class I've had, is a writing workshop class. I'm horrible at writing. I'm so bad at getting my thoughts from my head to a piece of paper in a tangible sentence sometimes. So kind of doing that class well has been the hard part.
I mean, the more practice you get, the better you do.
Yeah, I guess that's kind of why they have you take it, because you're going to need to learn how to write at some point and whatnot. But when you're good at a class, or when you're good at a subject, like if you love history or whatever, you're going to do well in a history class. When you don't like writing, you're not going to do well in a writing class. That's just kind of how it is. You can kind of put that work forward to really do as best as you can in those classes. But if you just don't like the material or like the subject, you're just like less motivated as like just natural as it is.
That's very fair. That's why so many people didn't like high school, because you just learned about a bunch of stuff you didn't really like.
Yeah, that was the same for me in my high school. I had a broadcast class. I had some like a photography class. Like I had some digital arts classes that I had, and I love those classes. I did well in those classes. And the classes like I didn't like math. I never was good at math. I barely passed like all of them. And that's kind of, I guess, where college is kind of different from high school. The experiences are really not the same.
Very different.
In the slightest. So there's obviously the gen eds you got to get done, and if you go to like a community college, that kind of helps you get them done. They're a lot easier there than they are here, just because you kind of are just focused on those. But it's just kind of, it's going to be a different experience really for everybody. The kind of media classes that I have now and whatnot, I like, and I do well in them for the most part. But there's always going to be like that gen ed or that math class or whatever that not everyone's going to like. But if you're good at them, you're going to be good at them, and you're kind of going to get your work done in a timely fashion. But that's just kind of how it is. If you don't like it, you don't like it. That's just, there's no really way around that.
Yeah, your experience was very similar to mine in high school, with not really enjoying what I was doing.
Right.
And I'd probably put the least amount of effort possible to still do well.
Yeah.
So my mindset was, if I can just totally slack off and also get a decent grade, that's what I'm going to do. So I do all my work last minute. But going into college, you need a work ethic, and if you don't have one, you better learn fast.
You're gonna get a rude awakening.
That's what that's what I call it for myself, because you got to learn really quick. Because going into college, my first semester really didn't go so well. Like my grades were okay in the aspects that I did try in, but I dropped a class for the first time ever.
Right.
Had like an existential crisis, because I'm not the kind of person that fails at things.
Right.
And seeing that right away was just really hard, and I wasn't sure if I wanted to do what I was initially pursuing. And you basically just have to learn really fast to get a work ethic if you don't have one going into college.
I would say like the hardest part of just like anything college that I've experienced so far is, like I said earlier, the losing that year of like hands-on experience. That is by far the hardest part that I've had to deal with.
Yeah.
It's really like, you see all these people around you that you can, sometimes it's hard to tell who's a freshman, who's a sophomore, who's upper class or whatever, and seeing people that are sophomores, as I am, in like producer roles or director roles or whatever, and just feeling like if I had been here last year, that's where I would be.
Yeah, you could have been.
So kind of being able to handle that and kind of working through that is probably been the hardest part. Just kind of sticking with it and putting behind that you've lost that year or whatever it happens to be, and just kind of keep fighting is probably been the one thing I've had to kind of learn this year.
And you can't live with regrets, because if you regret everything, you're going to have a sucky life.
Yeah, and there's nothing that can really be done about it now other than just keep trying, show up every day, or show up whenever you can, help out however you can. Whenever I'll get to the studio or whatever, or talk to someone who's like a director or whatever, like, how can I help? Best question you can ask, how can I help? What can I do? And they'll give you something, or they won't that day. And just getting your name out there, they'll be like, thanks for coming by.
Yeah.
And just keep showing up. That's really the one thing I've learned so far, because when there was like those initial meetings for Temple Update, the room was filled with 50, 60 people or whatever. Half those people I haven't seen since that first day.
Yeah.
So just after that first week alone, the numbers just keep getting thinner and thinner and thinner. So just sticking with it is really the one thing that I've had to kind of focus on this year.
And what you said about asking, I think that's super important, because you could ask somebody for something, like try and provide value in some way.
Right.
You could be told no 99 times, but that one time you get told yes could change the course of your life even.
Yeah.
Like, you could be helping out somebody who has a connection and a job that's a corporation that you want to work at. They could know somebody that you know, and you just never know until you
think
ask.
about that all the time.
Yeah.
I really think about
opportunities
that you've missed and opportunities that you don't even know exist yet. Mm-hmm. It's easy to think about. It's like, oh, I could have been here. I could have been doing that job now. I could have been doing this job now. But you just have to kind of think about what else could happen, really. Yeah. Just asking.
Shoot your shot.
Everybody's like, how can I help? What can I do? Even this applies to really like anything, like a class or whatever. Mm-hmm. Is there something I could do for extra credit? Is there something that I could do to kind of just have another assignment to kind of keep practicing this or learn this, however, kind of have extra study time or something like that? Just asking really is like one of the most powerful things you can do in college.
Mm-hmm. And I think talking to your professors too.
Yeah. Some people are kind of afraid. So you're in a 300 or 200 class or 200 student lecture, and you're kind of afraid of that one person in the front with the mic, and it's like, why am I going to go up and bother? They're not going to remember my name. They're not going to kind of give me the light of day. And that probably is true. That could happen. But you could ask.
They do have office hours, too.
Yeah, they have office hours that they're there for a reason. They don't want to just sit there all day and have no one come. They obviously want someone to come and talk to them or whatever. Mm-hmm. And just like, a teacher could be like, no, there's nothing you can do. Turn this assignment in. Don't hand it in if it's late.
Yeah, at least you tried.
Yeah, it's like if they go up and they're like, yeah, I'll give you another week. Why not?
Mm-hmm. The worst they could say is no.
Yeah, really.
I actually met with our professor for the 9:30 class, Professor Morris.
Right.
And I was her first student visitor, and I was talking to her about sort of my past and what I was interested in, and she was telling me that like she gave me a bunch of connections. Like,
right.
She referred me to some guy who worked in the sports department because I mentioned like I was into fitness and wanted to work with some of the athletes.
Right.
So she gave me that contact, and then she gave me another one for the Owl Sports, which is the update channel for Temple's sports.
Yeah.
And I found out that I studied abroad second semester of my freshman year, and she worked at the same college in Scotland.
Really?
For 5 years.
Really?
Yeah, it was ridiculous. So she had a little bit of a nostalgia moment.
Yeah, that's like that's one of those like that's one of those like just weird coincidences.
Yeah.
Like, we live in this really big area that there's like a lot of people from all over the place, and you two just happen to be in the same place.
Yeah. At the same time, it's a small world.
Yeah.
That's really cool. So, on top of your classes and clubs, are there any other side hustles that you're pursuing? Like, this could be interests, projects, just selling things.
At the moment, not really. I do have a job back home when I'm off of school that I go to, but there's nothing really that I'm kind of putting in the forefront or something that I'm working too hard on outside of class. There's stuff that I'd like to do or whatnot, but I always have this problem with thinking something's not good enough to kind of post online or kind of share around or whatever. I always have that like in the back of my head. It's like, oh, this isn't good enough. No one's gonna like this. Just can the project. And you never know. I really could just make something the next day that'd be like, oh, this is great. Why haven't you been doing this the whole time? Mm-hmm. But at the moment, it's just kind of I've just been focusing on like what I'm doing here and whatnot, and kind of getting involved with like the extracurriculars and whatnot through Temple Update. But it's easy to kind of think that you're doing the same as everyone else is not doing enough. Like you kind of have to have that third element or second element to you.
Sure.
And it's kind of easy to fear that you don't have that. But there's no kind of recipe for success for everybody. Everyone kind of has a different way to earn that living or make that career dream job come true or whatever. So there's no like success path for me personally. Just kind of take every opportunity I can get at the moment and just kind of roll with that.
Yeah. And those things that you're hesitant about putting out there, are those pictures for Instagram or
no,
other things?
It's more like just kind of videos I've had like ideas for. Like I'm always thinking about like what kind of video I could make. Kind of just make some sort of review for this new game, some sort of discussion on this new
kind of like YouTube channel
movie.
stuff.
Yeah, like just stuff like that. There's always ideas that I'm thinking of, but I always think like 2 steps ahead. Is like, oh, I'm going to need this, this, and this. This is going to be hard to achieve. This is a lot of dedication time for something that's not going to go how I wanted to. And then that kind of like sets me back 2 steps. I'll think of a great idea. Then I'll think of all the kind of things I have to get accomplished in order to make this. And then I'll be like, yeah, just 2 steps back. And I'm like, forget that.
The biggest thing that I could say is act on the ideas initially when you have them. Like that.
Right, yeah.
That's how this podcast came to be. I actually heard a story today of about Mark Zuckerberg, and for those who don't know, he's the guy who created Facebook. He would get an idea sitting in a college class. Once he'd have that idea, he would run home miles in the snow in flip-flops to act on that idea as soon as he had it. Because when he was onto something and he didn't work on it, he thinks it would be just a waste of time.
Yeah.
It's you just gotta act.
That kind of initial kind of spark that you have with something is like the perfect time to work on something, because you'll start a project and then you'll be like,
get in your own head.
Yeah, I'll be like, I'll come back to this later, or I'll add more pieces to this later. And it's just like, no, that was something I wanted to do yesterday. That was something I wanted to do a week ago. That's something I wanted to do a month ago. You just kind of keep pushing it back. So if you just start working on something that you just had an idea for and just go through all the way, that's sometimes when you create like the best things, or kind of don't overthink it and just be like, here's something I thought of, let's see if it sticks.
Yeah, take your own advice. I encourage you to try it.
Yeah.
That'd be awesome.
But it's just like once you start thinking about it too much, it's like, no, I don't want to do this. And I do that to myself all the time. I really do.
Ruminating too much.
Yeah.
I feel you. So, I guess kind of taking a step back from the academics and school kind of things, are you into the party life at Temple?
I'm really not. I've never really been interested in kind of parties or kind of a social gatherings or whatever. It's kind of like there's things that I like and there's things that I don't like, and I've never kind of crossed that barrier into something I don't like. It's not like I don't want to try new things or whatever.
Yeah.
It's just like for me personally. For me personally, it's like when I don't like something, there's no way I'm doing it. I've never been that kind of person to be like, I don't really want to do this or whatever, but I'll do it anyway. Never been that person. I'm so like hard to kind of push or whatever.
Like get out of your shell almost.
I don't know if it's get out of my shell. It's just like I'm not kind of, for lack of a better term, I have no kind of peer pressure in me. It's like
you just don't care.
I'm just not doing that. No, that's just how it is.
Yeah, well, that's a good quality to have, not being influenced by other people. Because
and that kind of
your
like
own person.
Yeah, it kind of like applies to like other things too. It's like, this is just, there's things that I'm like super passionate about and be like, nah, this is the only thing I'm focused on right now.
Yeah.
Just like forget everything else. And there's other things that I'm like, that's not me. I don't need to kind of fake it for anybody or whatever, or kind of play into other people's kind of ideas of what they consider fun or what they consider relevant at the moment. It's like, it's just, you do that. That's all you. And I don't care like what other people do, because people have their ideas of fun or their own ideas of something creative or whatever. It's like, you go for that. That's all you. That's nothing for me to worry about.
Awesome. So to wrap up, do you have any other thing you want to tell the audience, or even just to college students?
I think for my experience, since I've transferred into a different school, this is technically the third school I've been at in 3 years, from high school to community college to this now. You have to, I was actually talking with my friend the other night about this. You have to kind of put yourself in someone else's shoes. So when you're in the same class as someone, there could be someone sitting next to you. You're both in the same place at that time, obviously. They could be there by a completely different story than yours. And you kind of have to think about that for everybody, not just the people around you, but people you don't even know, celebrities that you see, or someone you're walking down the street and you see, be like, they have their own story. They're there for a reason, and you kind of just have to accept that and not kind of judge it at face value. And you'll kind of be more accepting to things and be willing to try more things, like we talked about in life, and specifically in college too. When you're here at Temple, there's 1,000 different things you can do on a daily basis, and kind of being willing to try all those things is something that when you kind of open yourself up to it, you'll have so much more fun and have a lot better time than just being that kind of stick in the mud, be like, I don't like that person, I don't like what they do or whatever. But just kind of opening your eyes to new people and new experiences, really, is what it comes down to.
Yeah, and that's what this whole podcast is aimed about, finding out the stories of, right now, people that go to college at Temple, but I'm hopefully going to expand this to other aspects, whether it be out of college or back home. So, yeah, I think that's a really good point. Thank you so much for joining me on the show.
Of course, anytime.
Thank you very much.
Mechanism Beats.